So Christians, the first commandment is for us too. The first commandment is for us too. What does it look like then for us to obey the first commandment? Well, for starters, we too have things that need to be purged and removed from our lives. Things that we look to for satisfaction and comfort rather than running to God. We too have things that we need to, that we sometimes look to for deliverance, for escape, for relief. Things that compete with the Lord as the dominant and ultimate headline in our mind every day. God commands us to remove anything and everything that ever becomes a threat to his exclusive position as the king of our hearts. We must be willing to radically put to death anything which threatens to stand in the way of our fellowship and our devotion to God through Christ. This is the exclusivity, the loyalty, the allegiance that the first commandment still calls us to every day. So don't merely put God first on the list of to-dos. No, put him everywhere. Don't just put him first, put him everywhere. Of course, he should be the first one we speak to in the morning. Of course, we should prioritize hearing from him, communing with him in his word and in prayer. But that's base level. That's base level. The problem with so many Christians today, myself included, is we do all of that, but then we set our Bibles down and we leave Jesus right there until tomorrow morning. That's the issue. We go on for the rest of the day looking and living like the rest of the world. Never letting the word of Christ dwell in us richly, meditating on his law. We have to repent of this, church. We have to change the analogy. God isn't the first place in a long list of to-dos. God is the sun in the dead center of the picture, and everything else orbits around him. That's the illustration. So it's not a choice between loving God or loving my wife and kids. I love God as I love and care for my family. It's not a decision between serving God or serving his church. I do one as I do the other, and I never attempt to separate the two. Listen to our forefathers in the faith on this point. This comes from the Westminster Larger Catechism, 1647. Question 104. What are the duties required in the first commandment? I thought this was helpful. The duties required in the first commandment are the knowing and acknowledging of God to be the only true God and our God, to worship and glorify him accordingly by thinking, meditating, remembering, highly esteeming, honoring, adoring, choosing, loving, desiring, fearing of him, believing him, trusting, hoping, delighting, rejoicing in him, being zealous for him, calling upon him, giving all praise and thanks to him, and yielding all obedience and submission to him with the whole man, being careful in all things to please him, and sorrowful when in anything he is offended, and walking humbly with him. This is an all-encompassing way of life. This is an all-encompassing, fully saturated Christian life. This isn't merely putting God in the first place. Of course we should do that. But it's more than that. It's acknowledging his supremacy everywhere at all times and never allowing anything or anyone to divert our attention, devotion, and allegiance to our God.